Hi, I'm Spencer Dobson. So you've decided that it's time to get an amp, right? It's time to do some rocking. Maybe you used to play back in the day and the world has changed since then and you want to find out what's going on. Maybe you found yourself with a lot of time on your hands recently for some reason. You decide it's time to check King of Rock off your bucket list. Look, there's a lot to consider when buying an amp, and I certainly can't cover all of the bases for you, not in the time allotted, and I don't have the knowledge, to be honest with you. But what I can do is kind of give you an overview of what's out there and hopefully help give you some things to think about when you're deciding what amp to choose. Amps! This week on Learning Curve. I hope you're doing okay. I personally came back to playing guitar a couple of years ago after not really paying attention for a couple of years. And in my time away, the world of guitars and the world of amps and the world of gear just exploded. On the one hand, it's awesome to have so many choices. On the other hand, it's a little overwhelming to have that many choices. Having said that, let's look at some of your choices. This seems like the first choice for most people. This is my personal Fender Mustang. I love it. It's got about a bajillion sounds that you can make with it. It was relatively affordable. It's relatively high quality. It's a decent size. It fits in your room. It sounds good. It interacts well with your computer. It works well with headphones. But there's a couple of things that I suggest you consider when thinking about getting a modeling amp. First of all, do you have self-control? Because the thing with a modeling amp is because there's so many pedals and so many amps and so many cabinets that sometimes you will spend so much time checking out new sounds that you won't bother to actually learn how to play guitar. thing I recommend you consider is what is your opinion on pedals, specifically looper pedals? Because with a modeling amp, you can't put the effects in the amp in front of your looper, right? Generally, if you're going out of a normal amp, your looper pedal would be the end of your effects chain. So you can lay down a loop and then change the effects and have the next layer of the loop sound different than the layer you just put down. But that's not what happens with a modeling amp because all of the effects are inside of the amp. So this is what happens. So you lay down a track, and then when you change the amp, the track changes. So if that's important to you, you might want to take that into consideration. Now, no one's saying you can't put pedals in front of a modeling amp. You can. It's just that some of them take pedals better than others. And in my experience, the Fender Mustang is okay with pedals, but it is certainly not my go-to. On a quick side note, Fender ended the Fuse program, which is where they kept all of their patches, which is what they call the presets that you download into your amp so you can sound like Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan or whatever you want. However, there's a guy in Australia, his name is Sean. He hosts a podcast called In the Blues. It's a great gear podcast. I highly recommend you check it out. And he has made all of his patches available. He used to do a weekly Mustang patch. He's made all of his patches available, and other people are making their patches available too. I'll put the address in the description, and it's also right here on the screen. I don't know how long that'll be there, but while it is, go ahead and check it out. Now, if you know yourself well enough to know that you would never crawl out of the modeling amp hole, and you just want to focus on putting your fingers on the right place on the fretboard, or if you don't have a lot of money to spend on an amp, but you do have a mountain of pedals because your uncle was in a cover band and he had a tragic Aquanet-related accident and left you all of his pedals, but left his Marshall stack to your cousin Alan, who doesn't even play guitar and didn't even go to the funeral, but whatever. Not the point. If you want simple, good tone, takes pedals, I'm saying Pignose, okay? There are similar amps this size and price range. The Honeytone from Dan Electro has been reviewed well. The Black Star Fly 3 is also very well reviewed. I own a Pignose because of the movie Crossroads, to be honest with you. Also, it looks cool. It sounds good. It's decidedly low tech. It's got one knob. You turn it on, and it's also the volume. That's it. Now you can use it as a preamp and run it into a regular amp because there's a jack in the back for that. It takes batteries, or you can use an adapter. It also has a little hook that you can use to put it over your shoulder. I have never done that, but you can if you want to. I feel like the Pignose takes pedals well. I feel like it's good with a looper. I think it's easy to keep at apartment volume, but it can get loud enough that to get you in trouble with the people that live next door to you. And there are people that have gigged with it, because PAs are really good now, so you can just put a microphone in front of it. The thing with the Pignose is the way it sounds is the way it sounds. If you don't like that sound, it doesn't make other sounds. You can augment that sound with pedals, but it's that sound and various versions of that sound. That's all you're getting with a Pignose. I already did a review of the amp plug. I really love the amp plug. It's really small. It's really cheap. I highly recommend it. You can't use pedals with the amp plug. It's got the tones that are in it. Those are the tones you get. You can plug it into your phone so you can jam along to MP3s. It's really easy to take with you. It sounds surprisingly good, especially for the price. So if that's something you're into, that might be the way to go. There's 3 different modes. You get a reverb, you get a delay, and you get a chorus. Input jack so you can play along to music from your phone. The jack you use to plug into your guitar rotates 180 degrees. It runs on AAA batteries. It's got a gain control, a tone control, and a volume control. Like, I'm not going to go into the differences between solid state and tube amps. I'm not going to break down the bajillion different kind of amps there are. There's so many amps in the world. But basically what I'm going to talk about right now is just buying a regular amp as compared to buying one of the things I've mentioned previously. And here's the thing. What I have is a VHT 6-watt Special 6. It's a tube amp. It's got an attenuator. It's great for playing in your apartment. Has a line out so you can add a cabinet if you want to. It has VHT made some weird choices with the knobs on this thing. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's fine. You can tweak it to get pretty much what you're going to want to do. It's got a couple of channels on it. It's got a foot switch that acts as a boost. It's all very cool. I like it a lot. I got it on Facebook Marketplace. Cheap. It's used. It's a little temperamental, I guess would be the way to put it. If I want to plug it into the computer, I have to use an interface. I generally plug it into a Tascam when I want to record stuff, and I get a great sound out of it. I'm really happy with this amp. It also this amp has an effects loop, which I really like. Now, this amp is not a high-end amp. It's pretty inexpensive, but it does take up some space. The thing is, I play guitar every day, and at some point, I will probably want to swap up to something bigger, better, louder, cooler, whatever. I like gear. I like to have gear around. But if you're watching this, you're probably brand new, right? And you're just deciding if you're going to learn how to play or if you're going to start playing again and that's something you want to do. So my question to you is, do you want a huge box in your house to take up space? Is it worth the money right now, even if it's only like $300, which is not, that was less than that, but do you want to spend that much money on something you may or may not use? And do you want to have a big box sitting in your corner until you decide you don't need it anymore? And look, if you decide to get rid of it, me or somebody like me will buy it on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or eBay, no problem. But take that into consideration when you're picking out an amp at this stage. Okay, I hope that helped you figure out what you need to get started. I hope you're having fun if you are playing. There's a big world of tones out there for you to find, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun doing it. My name is Spencer Dobson. If you like this video, if you got some useful information out of this video, please feel free to like it. Please feel free to share it. Please follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to the channel. Once again, my name is Spencer Dobson. This is Learning Curve. We'll see you next time.